It's August 23rd. What does it feel like to realize that the world is different than you knew, even if you were aware of certain, quote, conspiracy theories that are actually true, and that whole term is just something they use to gaslight you as a society. You shouldn't think outside the box, so even the term conspiracy theory is just a decoy to cause you to doubt yourself. But even as someone who held and still holds to many outside the box true theories, to find out that the majority of, I can't even say the majority, I hope it's not the majority, let's say half, unfortunately, or let's say it's a third, and that's where we get the idea in the Bible of a third of the quote, angels falling. So let's say a third or half of Earth's populace are cannibals and murderers, serial murderers. What does that feel like? And how does that play out with the day-to-day when you realize that you've been targeted when you had no idea you were targeted? When you felt maybe targeted in such a way, I just dropped something, in such a way like maybe the way a Christian who's trying to live out the Bible would feel like, yeah, I'm not the most popular person trying to live out this book that I have believed was truly the Word of God, and to be followed in such a way that, definitely made you not a popular person. But that's just one of their many manipulation tools with much truth and as much error. But it would only take a handful of error for it to be destructive, and it is a destructive book. What does it feel like to realize that your son who died 10 years ago was murdered by family members, and you were losing your share of the marital home is a methodical kind of and the marriage itself of 28 years, 29 years if we would count this last year, but we'll say 28 years, was never a genuine marriage at all. How about that every person in this state of Virginia knows who you are by voyeurism, and that in your life you've been starring in pornography that you never knew. What does it feel like? I think the hardest thing to come to terms with is that these people feel entitled to keep killing and they realize they can't kill me now, but they were completely content with trying and thinking they were going to destiny swap and keep doing these things to me. That's the hardest part to wrap my mind around, is that these people are entitled, feeling completely fine with what they do, and never have they thought that what they're doing would come to an end. And they're still self-deceived, I think, in some way, shape, or form, because it's being shown to them that they cannot kill me, but they're really not wanting to accept that. And the stalking that's going on right now has been going on probably for a long time, but it is round the clock. And we're going to find out that many black people cannot relate to their slave ancestors, but they are oppressors. And I, on the other hand, as white as I am, have much in common with any slaves from the past, even though history is full of lies. But I'm looking at a couple right now that just came by, and are stalking me, but they turned. I'm thankful they turned away and started walking away from me instead of closer. Maybe because I have my phone out, and maybe they think that not just audio recording, which is what I'm doing, but maybe they thought I had the actual camera going. I would say that it's disheartening, but I'm being encouraged to realize that all of this that I'm living right now is going to be just a memory. And in the future, our future will be very bright without these serial murderers plotting and feasting on society, these Illuminati who illuminate or light up themselves with use of children. We think of the word naughty implies having to do with children. I'm being told that my star is so bright and my purpose on earth is so great that pretty much these last 47 years, as these people have been, by and large, employing some sort of a destiny swap that cannot continue, and they were never able to do it in full, but they have succeeded for many, many years, and at least in part, subduing me and living like I'm being told, kind of like able to like live like a dream life. Many, 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 many people, Oprah, Beyonce, and many, many of your like more like your quote average looking people, riches and homes and businesses. And I'm here to bring down this whole group. I'm the one they thought was, somehow they thought I was like, not just naive, but like kind of a dunce or something. And they're being brought down, the whole thing. And I know that I have soul family. I don't know anyone in person. I would love to. And I don't know where the people reside, like in what if in America, in what state they reside, but I do see some of them through tarot readings. I do see, there are many faults, but I do see that there are some who, one man in particular who is dealing with exactly what I'm dealing with, being gang stalked constantly. He's speaking out on the same things that I have been made known, and he might have found out differently, and I'm sure he has different knowledge than I do. But as far as this world being like under oppression through people who practice cannibalism, which includes the police and the government. And, you just wouldn't think that, like, the common, regular people that, at least in Virginia, that I'm running into at the grocery store, you wouldn't think that these people would practice being serial murderers, and that I've been placed into a false marriage, and that they employ, putting cameras in your home and watch you in every way, shape, or form through voyeurism, which is illegal. Stalking is illegal, let me just add. So everything that they've done to me is going to be it is well documented, and there is no hiding it. See, they never thought that they would be caught, because the whole thing was that they were going to end my life by a certain time, and they have tried, I think, for the last 10 years to end my life, and there's been a hit on my life, maybe longer, but at least for the last 3 to 4 years. And now at this point, they're realizing that I outrank them, once again, I'll mention there was a USA Today. That's USA, you sexually assaulted. That's what USA stands for. But there was a USA article entitled Ocean's Gate, and I'm Ocean, born, well, I don't know if I was born Jennifer Waller, but my name has been Jennifer Elaine Waller, and then my married name of a false marriage was Jennifer Elaine Henderson. Married, not truly so, I guess, to Tracy Leon Henderson, who has a wife who might be my half-sister, same dad. I don't know. It's all just a lot, but I did pay for one of those websites where you can kind of look up people's names and stuff, and there was definitely some fishy stuff, and I have that already on my channel. But there's some Ashley who has the same last name, both my maiden last name and my married last name, and she has lived, when I lived elsewhere, she has lived at the only mother I've ever known, at Susan S. Waller's home in Virginia Beach, 305 Appian Avenue. She has lived there at least for some length of time through the years when I lived other places, because my false husband was in the Navy and we lived other places. So something real fishy going on, and all of it's going to come out. And there's been insurance claim fraud, and my son they killed 10 years ago. I'm sure that Ethan Philip Henderson, he was 18 months, and they ate him. They offered him up as some kind of a blood sacrifice to further bind me, and I am his vindication. My daughter Galena, who was murdered approximately 6 to 7 weeks ago, was not so innocent as Ethan, and she had tried to strangle me, choke me, however, putting both hands around my neck and squeezing and she had tried to kill me. And all of it's going to come out what they've done. They've done a lot. And they also didn't think their group chats and things like that would ever be like, they've gone on successfully with not just me but myriads of people that they have done these type of things too, that they never thought their group chats would become public, but they are, and I am their undoing. So the part of me that can feel frustrated that these people know when I'm recording and they send in loud planes overhead and loud booming cars just to try to stop me from anything. It's a lot. It's almost like a choreographed dance, these measures that they do, but these people are really just very inhumane, and that's why I have called the judgment of death upon them. And some of them will do better living out the rest of their lives in prison. Like Tracy Henderson might need to live in prison for a while and see my rise to fame. It would maybe be a little too easy if he would just drop dead. But it's sad, and it's also, when I see how like entitled these people are even still, and how they just have like a false sense of self, and they have like a false pride, and really the way that they feel about me is the way that they truly see themselves, but they are in denial, heavy denial of that. And so there's like this just like false paradigm going on, and they walk around very haughty and very entitled and like mad that I'm alive still, like how dare I. And this is the way the secret societies have been ruling the world, and like having wealth, keeping wealth within families and within communities, generation after generation, for a long time. And it's over. So I don't know, what day or how, what the means exactly will be, but I've been told I don't have to work for it. I've done all the work I need to do, and somebody will be coming to me with information, and overnight I will become a household name. And these people, it is their demise, it is their end. And this school year, all y'all back to school, moms and dads, this year is not going to be a normal year. All of Earth is going to undergo a change, a shocking change, because those people who are not part of this society are going to be shocked with the kinds of evil that have been prevalent and orchestrated by these groups, and we're going to find out about all of it. And what's happened to me is just a blueprint, and basically I'm being used to bring down the largest human trafficking group ever. And then it will, because we're going to see the way that they operate, it will be used to bring down more and more and more. And I would go so far to say until they're all brought down. And these people are going to go to prison or die. They will go to prison for the rest of their lives and or die. Many are going to kill themselves. Many already have. So basically the way they see it is that I'm not supposed to be alive, but the way that the universe or the spirit world has destined that this would happen would be that I would be kind of like the one they would never have thought that I would have been able to escape through all the things they have done to me. And they were allowed to believe through at least a decade of really having me under a horrible, which went back to that Christianity thing, but under a horrible oppression and mentally being just attacked psychically. But I had no idea that that's what I looked at it more as a demonic attack, which it is very similar. But I didn't realize that the people in my family are actually warlocks and witches, and were using ritualistic sexual and blood sacrifice as a means and method to have me under control. So although I miss my children that are not, guilty of these things, my younger children, I miss them and want them, but I had to choose myself, and in choosing myself, I'm gaining everything that these people have taken from me my whole life, through molestation, through putting me possibly in a false family that isn't my blood family, and like I said, killing my children. There was another son I had around 6 months gestation, Reuben, and that was, and many miscarriages as well. I've had a total of 17 pregnancies, 16 during the marriage. And so these people have used dark arts to cause me to miscarry or cause my child to die, and just cause me a lot of unnecessary and cruel pain, which I used to accept, not knowing why it was happening, but I used to accept as a cross to bear, and I would die to self daily. And so I looked at everything negative that was happening in such a way through the mindset of a very convinced Christian of the Bible's authority and of Jesus, his trustworthiness with my life, that if he willed it for me to suffer, that I was willing. And all of that was really a brainwashing or a brain dirtying. And I believe I have discovered that, the Bible is actually the book of the elites. And although it may contain many truths, many spiritual coded truths, when you believe it the way it tells you to, it is really just brings your demise. So, I believe Jesus is the same as Satan and is the same as Moloch, and even like Gabe and Michael, like some people, even like the man who seems to be in a similar situation, he would maybe call on like Archangel Michael, and a lot of people do that. But there's a store called Gabe's, and on the receipt and on the wall it says Gabe's Brothers, and I just really think Gabriel and Michael are like the biblical names of angels are actually demons. So I personally don't like ask them to I don't ask for their help, and I totally reject and shun any like Jesus, Satan, Moloch, Gabe, Michael, any of those kind of and through my mind I was able to be in the underworld through the Bible, which is a magic book, without trying to. I was being kind of sucked in for years into the underworld and really just almost plagued. But once again, it goes back to the idea of suffering, if the will of God be so. And I felt bad about thinking this because I believe the Bible so much, but finally I remember getting to the point where I thought, Jesus died once. Why am I having to die every day? Like, there's something wrong with this. And I think really that thought was the beginning of me getting out from cult-like churches and the bondage of the Bible. And it took probably a year and a half to 2 years after leaving the marriage to kind of like deconvert naturally from Christianity. And then there was a time that I wondered if I was going to become an atheist, and through different visions and dreams I realized that spirituality is true, but it's just the Bible is a manipulation tool. And it's shocking to me how many people in this world know who I am, and I guess that really just shows me how huge this is, and it's really going to be something. It's really something what they've done. And I think that they were able to tell, and not just for me, there's others, but I think that they're able to tell, like upon our birth, which is kind of something alluded to in the Bible, but like our star, our energy signature, that they can tell, like, oh, this one is really, she's got the potential for this, and that. And that's why they then target you and molest you and put you possibly with like a false family that are just warlocks and witches to hurt you, and they just do everything they can to keep you in like a mode of fear, so you never become enlightened and have your pineal gland decalcified, which is like the true awakening. So all those years that I thought I had become born again, I didn't realize there was like a true awakening. It was just not what the Bible describes. So I've woken up all the way, and because of dreams and visions and my spiritual teams speaking to me through my intuition and things like that, I understand the things that I do, and I am awaiting the 3D evidence to be brought to me. And overnight this will be like really changing all of Earth, when we realize there are empty graves and there are bones and remains of people who are not in their graves, including many children who are yearly kidnapped by the authorities, like the police and just regular people who are part of this group, to be sacrificed and their blood to be drank to give youthfulness to these people. It's the fountain of youth. They're actually, they have sex with these minors, probably before and after they kill them. And even some of these things are alluded to in popular books, not just vampire books, but including vampire books. And they like to play in our face. So my life has been much like the Truman Show, that movie. I've never watched the movie, I've only seen the trailer. But my life has been very much like that, where every person, except for maybe my minor children, even my children who are grown, all have, through their father molesting them and grooming them, somehow have become these monsters as well. And it really goes hand in hand with like some kind of extraterrestrial, entities that they're like almost like making contracts with in the ethers as they do these sacrifices and such. So to obtain riches and wealth, for example, or youthful appearance, successful businesses, they offer up, and they are dealing with, dark entities, but maybe some of them don't realize what they have made an agreement with. But in not being able to offer me up, and me being alive and they cannot kill me, and me outranking them all, is going to be their complete and utter downfall, because basically whatever entity or entities have been promised me and can't have me are going to be, and are now, even as I speak, coming for these people for payment. And the payment, they might not have realized, is their whole entire Illuminati group, all of it, all the different, the Masons, the Eastern Stars, and all the different kinds, all the different branches, if you will, but it's all the Illuminati. And some of the highest ranking are the Mennonites, who I spent 10 years among. And I had a real-time vision without trying. I had I experienced seeing the Bishop Dale Miller beheading a woman, and it was like probably around 4:30 in the morning on a certain day. This was going back a couple of years ago. I have it on my channel. And I've been homeless for the last several years as well, increasingly more like homeless, living, like sleeping in the grass right now. And but yet I'm rich, and there is a wealth transfer that is in progress, and I'm going to be I would say probably the richest person on earth. I hope to meet my special soulmate before then, because I will not be used, and either he is as rich as me in spirit and will also be in the 3D, or I will meet him before, because so many people have tried to, use me for, even though I don't really have anything to my name at this point that I know of, but I believe have an inheritance that's been stolen, and my false husband has had a false power of attorney, and there's just a lot of corruption, but it's all going to come out, and because it's coming out, it's all going to be like rectified. And I believe that me and whoever my spouse will be, the one who is equal to me and will reciprocate true love and not be a user, and will be everything that equal to like what I am in spirit. We have a huge purpose here, which by and large is to help others to wake up, and that just will start like a cumulative effect, changing Earth into what it was always meant, because the things that these people have been doing with these dark entities, like, it breaks so many spiritual laws. Like, this is not okay. It's not okay to kill the children so you can have success, or so you can seemingly have success. And these people, they're like zombies. And for example, my oldest daughter, Jaleesa, now I know that she's been in this group since she was at least 16, and was definitely killing her little brother, my son Ethan, who was, like I said, he was about a week away from 18 months, but killing him, I believe, was her entrance to this group. And he would have been buried at the Mennonite Church in Severn, North Carolina, but they unburied him and they ate him. And he communicates with me some in a non-audible way, and all of this is coming about because of what they've done to him and what they've done to me and what they've done to countless innocent people who are not even alive. And then there are other innocent people being trafficked in such inhumane ways that they might be in the back of an Amazon truck or something like that, and these people are just used to have sex with and to offer up and have their blood drink and maybe even part of their body consumed and maybe kept around for a week or so to continue to have sex with. And it's just really a lot of debauchery. And so these people that practice these things are really like almost like zombies just walking around. Like they're alive technically, but there's just something really, really wrong. They have dark entity attachments, and this is the way people play. Like if you want to think of like a Chicago Bulls basketball player or whatever, or singers. We're gonna find out rappers or singers. Like this is what they do. And even when I was around 14 or 15, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, I thought it was just a dream, but what it was is that I was asleep, but it was like I saw them in the astral realm. I didn't know about astral traveling, but they knew about me, and they were trying, and I've been told many rappers, 50 Cent and, it's more than just two, but 50 Cent and, I always forget his name. What's his name? There's this one guy who like goes in and he doesn't write his music. He just like off the cuff just raps, and that one. He's one who's used me. But these people we're gonna find like they don't have their quote talents anymore. Like I've been told Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, but it's like so many. It's pretty much all your mainstream artists, professional like singers, and and not just singers and not just actors and actresses, but this is how the people who we think of as like superstars, like they're using the star of basically the golden child, golden children, or the golden book. The books are opened, right? So using astrology, and they're able to see, I think, upon birth or even before birth, which children it is that have like the biggest star energy, and they kind of create a false world around them and try to keep them in fear and keep them from attaining to their own greatness and their purpose here on earth. But they can't kill me. They've killed many like me before, but they had intended to, and some might still be trying. But I think at this point they're realizing like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen? So yep, I'm here to be their downfall, and this is all going to be made public, and the whole earth is in for a huge shift, and it's going to be scary at first. It's going to be shockingly scary at first, and it is sad, but I'm here to remind you all, and so will my spouse. We will have a frame of reference slightly different, and I want to remind you all that although this is going to be really difficult, like the bodies and things that are going to be discovered and the practices of these people, this is ultimately for good. For good is like such an understatement. This is like us kind of like recovering earth for all that it's meant for, which is not oppression. And if we can just keep that in mind, it's going to be painful, and we should let it hurt. We need to cry, we need to grieve, we need to mourn the people that have been murdered, and even the people who are the murderers, and how they were tricked, because basically these people are all under some form of mind control as well, thinking that they can do this and this is that, and so and it's all just so sad, really. And I mean, some of these people, like in this town that I'm living in Midlothian, which is like part of Richmond, Virginia, some of these people, like, they're homeless even, but they're part of this group. And some of them, like, you know, they work at Kroger, but they're part of this group. So, like, not everyone has, like, the Beyonce or Oprah lifestyle. And I would say probably those people who are more like the top elites, people who have, you know, government positions or are superstars, you know, those kind of people probably are profiting the most off of this. But there's just so much corruption in the world, and it needs to end, and it is ending. And so, although I miss my children, I have been told that my children who have not turned against me and not become cannibal murderers will be returned to me miraculously, and I'm trusting that. And every person who's ever come up against me who's still on this earth is going to be put to shame, and every disgusting thing they've ever done against me will be shown and blasted upon the screens of not using the media that is owned by these people. These elite groups own all the major networks, but there are going to be people who become you know, news reporters that are going to be trustworthy. We're going to have a lot of things that are changing. Government's going to be seen for what it is. This is worldwide, not just America. So, as much as it might be discouraging sometimes and exhausting, mentally and physically, I'm exhausted. My feet are like bleeding and cracked and hurting, and, you know, just being homeless, like, I'm in pain, mostly my feet and legs, but I'm a big girl. I'm okay. But the fact that all of this is coming out and these people are being taken down, it's going to be seen for what it is. Like, I'm just being told, like, in the future, this will all just be a memory. And, like, obviously, you know, just like after you have a child, any of you who've given birth to a child, you know, all that pain, all that laboring, once you have the baby in your arms, it's like it just didn't matter, you know. It'll be like that very much. And I don't know if the firmament will open up. Earth is not a globe. But good things are in store for us. So that is exciting, and I can see that I signed up for this, and I'm not sad about it, even though it might be discouraging at the moment, or exhausting, just really physically and mentally exhausting. But I'm strong enough, and all these people, even that are right now coming out and are low-key trying to stalk me, I pronounce judgment on them. And like I said earlier on my channel, I made up a little short rhyme, you know, bring flame and shame, and where there was blood, for every thug, you know, I can't remember even now what it was, but I was going around saying it earlier today, like, let these people be filled with shame, and yeah, so it's all good.